other, I think, important thing from a local government side. 800 Middle Street in Houston, which is a $135 million boat anchor for affordable housing at this point in time. I believe you all had 4 concerns that you all were looking at that site. I do know that there's probably 4 federal agencies out there that did search warrants: EPA, HUD, Office of Inspector General, FBI, probably DOJ. But effectively, this is a site that is, next door to a incredibly contaminated fly ash site, which is an old Houston incinerator, if I remember correctly, where if you take a boat down Buffalo Bayou, the black fly ash falls off the banks into the water. And somehow this group, through the Houston Housing Authority, actually got a permit to build on that site, which is shocking alone, which I believe, is a terrible public policy situation, because we're 95% complete and there is like 0 chance it's going to be occupied. Are you familiar with that enough to talk about this?
I am familiar with it. I'd, with the chair's permission, like to have one of my experts help field questions you may have.
Of course, you can bring up one of your staff or
Thank you.
assistants or whoever.
Not all the experts.
Might take more than one expert.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Craig Britzloff, Director, Office of Compliance and Enforcement. Senator Betancourt, thank you for the question. TCQ is aware of this issue. It's in enforcement right now, and we're working to resolve the compliance issues to get the site restored for livability conditions.
I think you all have 4 specific areas, at least from media, that you all are looking at. Can you detail those, or just give us a top line overview? I'm just pointing out that this is probably the largest single failure of affordable housing, AKA HFCs, in the state of Texas and maybe in the country. So I really need to understand what happened in this approval process, and I think you've got enforcement going on right now to look at it.
I can speak to the enforcement, which is working to resolve the issues on the ground. In terms of the actual remediation, I'd have to call a partner.
Well, I'm trying to get a detail of a top line on the 4 issues that you're looking at right now. Can you at least run that through, or?
We'll have to follow up with the committee, sir.
Okay, all right. I guess if we're down to the remediation, I would love to hear, because this is one of the most complex environmental sites I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not sure how to remediate a fly ash site next to a housing authority, which reminds me of a Superfund site at a minimum. And we already have a structure on top of it that's worth $135 million. So I don't know how to move the structure somewhere else where it could be. I'm making a somewhat satirical comment because we've got an incredible amount of taxpayer money locked up in a situation like this.
Good afternoon, Beth Seaton, Director of the Office of Waste. So as a part of the enforcement action, as they are looking at the different areas, some of that issue is looking at the soil. As some of that work was happening, as you saw in the media, there was ash exposed. And so we have been working with our enforcement group and the outside parties looking at plans to assess that. So looking at where that material may be, assessing the soils. So looking at those components to see what would be needed if additional work is needed. So it's starting in that process of evaluating that.
Okay, well, it would appear from observation that material is nearly everywhere surrounding that property. So I would really like to hear back from the agency on what 4 avenues you're looking at and the remediation possibilities. It's not every day that, Madam Chairman, that a existing HUD brokered housing authority project has 4 federal agencies show up on search warrants to do soils testing on an existing $135 million HFC that is 95% complete but unoccupied, and probably will for the foreseeable future. My red alert for fraud is so high that it doesn't even fit into a Star Trek episode at this point in time. This is really off the charts. And any comments, Director?
Thank you. We'll follow up with your office on details.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.